All right. Clearly, you've never listened to one of our shows. Yeah, okay. So that's the only time anybody makes that choice. Because about 20 minutes in, you're going to be going, what the heck did I sign up for here? No, all I can say is I started to download it and didn't. That's as far as I have no excuse other than I have a family. So we'll get into a little that sort of stuff a little more once we actually get rolling about who you are and how we found you and all that sort of stuff. So I teased it last week. I said I'm going to come at this as a total Black Lab Linux idiot, which is not unusual. I play the idiot every week, but so I'm not going to know anything. So I will probably ask the noob questions, which is fine. You know, we got to represent the noobs. So, oh, you did? To where? I didn't get it. Oh, okay. Okay, there doesn't. So we'll get into a little that sort of stuff before rolling about who you are and how we found you and all that sort of stuff. So I teased you last week. I said I'm going to come at this as a total I think I'm using the Black Lab Linux idiot, which is not unusual. I play the idiot every week. But so I'm not going to know anything. So I will probably ask. Because you were talking, I'm listening to the live stream now, and I wasn't hearing anything. And then when I started talking, I'm hearing the laptop mic. We don't want that. That will sound like garbage.
Yeah.
So let's try this again using the right mic.
Okay.
Are you in the show notes, Robert?
Yeah, I had them up. Let me pull them back up.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is kind of our outline of what we do.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
outline.
we don't. We start from here. I'll say.
Okay.
They're more like guidelines.
All right, chat room. Everything should be copacetic now.
Once I catch up with the delay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so Roberto Donert, is that right?
Right. That's right.
Wow, Mark, you didn't butcher someone's name. I think the
He did
end
not.
tomorrow.
I'm very surprised.
The show is young. Give it time. All right, I'm going to say it's time to hit record. I'm going to turn off my air conditioner and begin sweating. And
profusely, I'm sure.
Yes, here we go.
All right, recording now.
Recording.
All right.
Oh, a lot of soft things to eat. I can't eat anymore now.
Just mute before you crunch.
Yeah, but mute the mic, not the.
Yeah, not just Skype. Seth learned that the hard way. Oh, did I lose you? What happened? Seth was talking.
No, I'm right here.
Seth was talking, then he wasn't.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
That was weird. All right.
Okay, you can still hear me. Okay.
As good as Skype is, it still sucks.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Okay.
You're right.
I'm going to start this thing, and we're going to pretend like we know what we're doing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Linux, episode 143, Black Lab Linux. Recorded
whatever day it is, I didn't write it down, and so I don't have it May 11th.
May the 11th.
So we got to start all over again. Actually, I don't know why I'm picky about that in any way. I just don't want to start the show on a screw up. It's okay.
But Mark,
if I
it's
screw up.
there. 05112014. I wrote it out for you.
Yes, yes, you did. Yes, you did. All right, one more time. I should have just said Mother's Day. Okay, one more time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everyday Linux, episode 143, Black Lab Linux, recorded May 11th, 2014, and brought to you by Element Opie Productions, elementopie.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Linux show that's not about Linux, but about life in the context of Linux. And I hate to disappoint you, but this show actually is going to be about Linux tonight. So I'll just apologize for that up front. The Linux show that's not about Linux will actually be about Linux tonight, but we had to get our yearly quota in. One show about Linux a year, and we're okay. And then we'll be back to bacon and popcorn and coffee and bad movies next week. But this week, we have a special guest with us. I will introduce him in just a minute, just to get the suspense rolling there. But I, of course, am Mark, the Sultan of the Soapbox Cockerel, and I am joined, as always, by your friends and mine, Chris, the Command Line Godfather, and Seth, the Gooey Kid Anderson. Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, hey.
Aloha.
Oh, you went island on us there.
Yeah, I want to go there someday.
Okay, anyway, and our guest this evening, we gave him the option of just doing a brief interview and getting on with his life, and he chose to do the whole show. He will regret that decision almost immediately, but that is Roberto Donert, who is the Grand Poobah. I don't know what his official title is, but that's what I'm going with. The Grand Poobah of Black Lab Linux. Hey, Roberto, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
So let's start right there. What is your actual title?
Lead developer.
Lead developer. All right. What does that mean?
Do it now?
What does that mean? That's your title, but what does it actually mean?
Basically, what it means, I help the guys collaborate, work on the kernel, work on the packages that we install in Black Lab Linux and what comes pre-installed with the system.
Okay.
And basically, now I've gone from actually coding software to actually being just a coordinator of types.
So you're a manager.
Yes.
Middle management, and we all love middle management. So are you're actually like a kernel level coder kind of guy?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Most people in management don't know how to code.
Yeah. Most people in management don't know how to. Anyway, I'm going to stop right there. Last one of my managers is listening. So let's. We'll get back to Black Lab Linux in a minute, but first we have some irrelevant things to talk about. We don't want to. I mean, we're doing Linux already. I don't want to shock the audience too much by jumping straight into Linux. Whoa, back up a little bit. I mean, when you go to work, do you start right away? No. So this is the time we're going to get our coffee. We're going to stand around, talk a little bit. Seth,
Water cooler moment.
Seth is a running fool. He ran yet another 5K. No zombies this time.
No zombies. I was supposed to run one on Thursday, but we had these storms come through and there was like a tornado close by, so they canceled that 5K. So I went to the gym, and I ran a 5K in the gym just for fun. There's something wrong with me. I'm going to go to a doctor soon, but that's the first time I've ever ran one without stopping at all. Like, even whenever I've done them before, I always get tired and have to walk a little bit. So on Thursday, I ran one without stopping. And then Saturday morning, I ran one. I had to walk a little bit, but I set my fastest time ever at 36 minutes and 17 point some odd seconds. So
Very cool, Seth. My hat's off to you.
well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
had a hat on.
for fat man running, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, any run. I mean, that's a slow jog for most people, but it was the fastest I had ever done it.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that the tornado canceled the event. I doubt that was actually it. It was just muddy and stuff because, as I often tell my friends here in Georgia, in Texas, tornado siren means get the beer and lawn chairs and go sit out front. I mean, that's what you do when you hear a tornado siren. You don't
not
run.
in uptown Dallas. You know, maybe out in the country
They don't
it would
know
have
any
been,
better, huh?
but uptown Dallas, where all the yuppies and type people live, they run for the storm show. People were like, they told me like, get out of the office and go to the kitchen because the kitchen's in like the interior of the building we're at, and I'm like, why? I want to stand and look out the window and watch you come in. And they're like, no, get in the office. And I went, okay, you have the ability to fire me. I better get in the office. So, but yeah, I was just like, no, it was going to be an outdoor thing, and they ended up canceling it. And I was mad because I was looking forward to running and eating a lot of free food at the end. So instead, I just went to the gym and, felt like I was dying. But I didn't I had to go pay for food afterwards. It was not.
And ran
it was a
for
letdown.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Bleeg is mad at you.
The Blurch.
Blurch, that's it.
Yes.
The Blurch is mad at you.
What is I don't understand.
Matthew Inman's creation, the oatmeal.
Yes, you
okay.
need to go to the oatmeal and read the Reasons I Run. That's the best comic ever. Every time I read it, I laugh so hard that I don't drink anything while reading it.
He's actually writing a book about the Blurch. The Blurch is the inner fat guy who says, you don't want to run, go have some more ice cream, go sit on the couch and eat some potato chips. So,
Yeah.
There's the inner fat guy. I hear him very well, but there's also the inner lonely guy, and he's getting to where he's yelling. So he's like,
He's beating the Blurch down for you.
he is. He's like, we've tried it his way, we're gonna do it mine. And
see, my problem is there's the inner fat guy, the outer fat guy, the in-between fat guy, the second fat guy that sits right next to the first fat guy. I'm still dealing with all of that. So, in your effort to get healthier and to change your lifestyle a little bit, have you made any eating choices? For example, any restaurants you're going to choose not to go to anymore?
Well, actually, I do. I ate salad for lunch 3 days this week. Again, I got to go to a doctor. There's something wrong with me. I've never done this before. But no, I talked a few weeks ago about this place I went to and overcharged me. Went to a different Sonic restaurant this last week, and they did the exact same thing. Overcharge. Again, I don't care how much you want to charge. Just the price that you put on the board needs to be the price the order rings up for. And I was like, okay, that cost $5.39. What is 8.25% tax on $5.39? Added in there, this is how much it should be. So I ordered it, and it was like 11 cents too much. So I said, I need to see the receipt when they brought it out, and I went, you overcharged me. I'm not going to pay for this. And so I just, I can't say I'll never eat at Sonic again, but it will be a very long time because it's just, I don't know. And people don't understand. For me, it's the principle of the thing. I don't care about 11 cents. I care about the fact that it's basically, it amounts to your lying to your customers. You're saying it's going to be this much, and it comes out to be more. It shouldn't be. Whatever you say it should be is the amount it should ring up for. And so, I'm boycotting Sonic now because the exact same thing has happened to me at 2 different Sonics owned by 2 different companies. So it's not like the same franchisor owns both of them. They're 2 different franchisee places. And so, again, I called and complained, and the second time they're like, oh, we'll send you out something. I went, why? I'm never going to use it. I'm not going back to your store. Keep it, and maybe just stop lying to people. And so, I posted on Facebook my whole story, and now I'm telling the Element OP faithful, and Sonic has lost my 1 transaction a week I was giving them. So I'm sure they're hurting.
Well, it's never good business to lose a customer, but when you lose a fat guy and you're in the food business, that's a mistake.
I mean, obviously, I love to eat.
Yeah, that is
and
pretty
I love
bad.
to eat out. So,
Well, Seth, you know what? I'll make sure they get at least a chunk of money this week because Friday I have to go up to where the local Sonic is because I have to drive 3.5 hours to go to Sonic. It just so happens we have other things going on in that town, but we are definitely going to Sonic that day because I want me some All-American hot dogs.
Very interesting. Well, so the hot dog is what you go for at Sonic.
I do. I love their hot dog.
I don't believe there is any difference between a good hot dog and a bad hot dog. It's a hot dog. It's ground buttholes and lips. I mean, I don't really see how there's a quality differential.
That is only because, Mark, you ate at the BSU where we had hot dogs every other week for like 5 straight years. Your hot dog sensitivity has been destroyed.
Now, having said
is.
that, I mean, I am particular. The only 2 brands of hot dogs I buy are Nathan's Old Fashioned and Hebrew National, because they
See.
are the top end of buttholes and lips.
That
So
it is.
you know, it's kosher buttholes and lips.
I don't think that makes kosher, does it?
I don't know. I've never asked. That's one of the things I'm going to try to do next in my own charcuterie practices. I'm going to make some hot dogs because it seems to be, you know, it's something my kids will eat, and B, it's kind of universal, and I think I can do it. So that is something I will be experimenting with in the near future.
Awesome. You'll have to let us know how it comes out.
Oh, you know I will.
Of course.
We'll have a whole episode called Hot Dogs. Hot Dog Talk.
Well, I told you I made some sausage recently, right? Made some Italian sausage links.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that was fun, and it was tasty.
Good.
Yeah, it came out really nice. The breakfast sausage was, I didn't season it enough, but the Italian sausage came out good. But anyway, I know I should recognize this name, Chris, because you've mentioned it before, but I can't for the life of me remember what is Korora.
Korora is the Fedora bastard child that has all of the extra goodies put into it automatically, kind of like Mint is for Ubuntu.
All right.
Korora is for Fedora.
Okay.
So
you started using it?
No, well, yeah, I've been using it for a while now because I got tired of going to find all my bits and pieces for Fedora. But I had a friend of mine who needed a laptop, and I just happened, you know, to be in the business of finding laptops and selling laptops. So I told her that I had one in my shop that was my old one, but didn't have a Windows license. So if she wanted it, she'd have to either license it or run Linux. And she looked at me and she goes, "Would you teach me Linux if I just ran Linux?" And I go, yeah.
That's kind
And
of what I
so-
do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. So she got her first lesson last night on the basics of how Korora works. And she went, "This is just like Windows. Why doesn't everyone run this?" So, yeah, I was a little happy about that.
So in your teaching her, did you say whatever you do, don't listen to the Everyday Linux podcast?
No, actually, I subject her to it every once in a while because a lot of times when I come here, it's dinner time in my time zone, and so my family is already probably over there having dinner instead of here with dinner and making me hungry. So, yeah, they know all about it. They listen every once in a while because I force them to.
Cool.
Yeah, I recommend forcing people to listen to the show. That's how we have as many listeners as we do.
That's right. Gunpoint, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like drinking
It's a
beer.
strategy.
You know, the first 4 or 5 times you drink it, you don't like it and throw up, but eventually you acquire a taste for it. So
I just never could get behind the concept of an acquired taste. I don't like it, but I'm going to keep drinking it so that I don't mind
Like
it
it.
anymore. And that same mentality same mentality happens in the computer world all the time. Oh, you don't like Windows 8? Just keep using it for a while. It won't suck as much after you get used to it. Yeah, it pretty much will. I'll just learn to deal with the suckage. And, you know, I've heard that in Linux, too. You'll get used to it after a while. I don't want to get used to it. I want it fixed. I still,
Yeah.
it still bugs me that I have to copy things from a Samba share to local file to edit them and copy them back up because I can't mount the Samba share easily. With this 2014, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's just you. I don't have a problem doing that.
Well, it depends on it has come a long way, but there are some things that it just won't let me do it. I have to make a local copy and then do it and then push it back. And I'm trying to remember. Just this week, I had a recent example of that. I forgot what it was. I was editing some particular type of file that it didn't want me to. It was a permissions problem between Linux permissions and Samba permissions, Windows permissions.
Huh.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just that there are things that should be fixed. They should be better now.
Yeah,
And-
they should be.
And we're not yet. And
I'm
if
getting
you-
better.
maybe it's just because I'm not using the right brand of Linux. Maybe if I used Black Lab Linux, all of these problems would be fixed.
Yeah, maybe.
Exactly.
So we'll see, but we're not there yet. Hold on, Roberto. Easy, easy. No. So okay, e-waste by the tons. What's that, Chris?
Yeah, we had another e-waste push here in my local from my local town where the county or not the county commissioner, he's the sanitarian, put up a big hoopla and made sure that it was published and postered and splattered over everything he can to get everyone to bring their e-waste down on Saturday. Well, at the last time I looked before they closed the doors, they had filled 3 pup semis full.
Wow. So
Yeah.
there was a pent-up demand to get rid of that stuff.
Well, and I didn't ask, but I was curious to find out how much of the city's e-waste went in there. But I know I watched 4 or 5 pickup loads come in from different people, not just the schools or the college or just like that, but they were people's personal belongings being brought up, and there were pickup loads. And I remember one individual, he brought 2 pickups because he had that much stuff that he didn't
Wow.
want to throw away.
I think these are people like
Wow.
you who are small business owners. They have to be, because the average consumer, when a TV breaks, they just chuck it in the trash and don't think about the fact that it's got lead in it.
No, a lot of the problem I would almost bet on is the hoarder mentality, because they'll think about fixing it, and then so they'll set it aside, and because for a long time rent and storage spaces were so cheap in the area, they just piled it up. So
See, that's another thing I never could get behind. The renting a space to hold more stuff. You have that much stuff.
there's lots of them.
My wife and I have this conversation every few years. She decides that we need a storage space for more stuff. And I tell her every time, no, we're going to throw it out. And if we ever need it again, we'll take the money that we would have spent on renting storage and go buy a new one. Problem solved.
Yep. Yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
There you go, Mark. You're applying logic and reason to personal relationships. You're begging for a beatdown.
Speaking of personal relationships, we're recording this on Mother's Day. At least 2 of us are married and have married to a mother, and all of us have mothers. So we just want to say we appreciate the wives for letting us have this time. The reality is, my wife anyway was happy to get rid of me for a couple hours, and so that was no sacrifice on her part. But we did go, and we had the obligatory dinner out at a restaurant where we waited 3.5 hours to get in because everybody was having the obligatory. No, it wasn't quite that long, but it was an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then bought food that was too expensive, and
Overcooked.
It's what you do. It's what you do on Mother's Day, and again on Father's Day we'll do the same thing with a steakhouse. That's the American thing. You eat. Happy celebration. Eat.
And they
Well, I was
wonder
a
why
good son,
we're
I
the
cooked.
fattest nation.
You cooked, Roberto?
Yes, I did.
All right. For your wife?
No, my mom.
For your mom. Okay.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, it does.
That's cool.
Everybody
So
had
what did-
fun.
What did you cook?
Well, I cooked chicken and pork chops.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, it worked.
The white meat option. See, I'm a Texan. Chicken and pork chop is not the other white meat. It's just that stuff that you don't talk about. It's beef in Texas. What part of the cow do you want? The lips or the no? That's a hot dog. There are certain signs of the apocalypse that the end times are upon us, and Seth's next link here is one of those signs. The world is coming to an end. Armageddon is near because the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are going to get a movie.
Another
one.
movie.
Another
Mark.
movie, yeah.
There have been several
Oh, no.
Power Ranger movies, but this is apparently going to be a reboot and maybe more darker, less campy stuff. But
Yes, because
anyway,
that's what America needs, a darker, brooding group of pastel-colored guys in helmets.
right. Well, I called it Future Bad Movie. So I'm sure once it comes out, it'll either be just like, was that Power Rangers or was that X-Men second first class? Or it'll just be, I think Asylum got into big budget movies. So I don't know what it'll be, but if you go to the link in the show notes, there's this GIF of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers doing like this little dance step, and it's kind of funny just to watch it.
Frightening and sad is what it is.
Definitely.
Well, maybe they'll be smoking cigarettes and drinking a beer. You never know.
Oh, there you go.
Inside the
That's
tortured
dark.
soul of the Red Ranger. What darkness makes him tick? Find out in the new Mighty Morphine Power Rangers.
You'd have to have me in morphine to put me in a suit like that.
But
some other drug anyway.
I grew up on Voltron and Thundercats, which were no less stupid. It's just that I'm
They
old
were
enough.
cartoons.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, Mighty Morphin Power and Seth. I'm gonna out you, brother. Seth was 21 years old in college and was way more into the Power Rangers than any human should be. And I questioned your sanity then, and I question it even more now that you even know that this movie is coming.
Well, one, I stumbled across it perusing my links, and two, it was cheese, and I acknowledged it as cheese at the time. I did not subscribe to any greatness of the Power Rangers, but it was fun in a bad movie Sharknado kind of way.
Resulting in more black eyes on school playgrounds than anything in
kidding.
the history of humanity. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Okay, we got, as always, we have a ton of news. We're not going to do it all. I'm skipping the listener feedback. We had a listener feedback show last week. We've got a guest on this week, so I'm going to skip over that. I just didn't put anything in there. And so let's get on to some of the technology news of the week. And this is interesting. Microsoft, it's that typical ask a question in your headline. Is Microsoft losing its grip on the enterprise?
Yeah, so supposedly 7 out of 10 people don't use Microsoft Office anymore. And this is a study done by the company SoftWatch that claims, they did this 3-month study with almost 150,000 employees at 51 different firms and found out that outside of Outlook, pretty much, Excel gets used on the average of 8 minutes a day. And 29% of employees never use Excel or Word or to only view documents sent to them. And so and the thing about that is like 47% of Microsoft's annual revenue comes from licensing. So this could be a big deal for them. But then, when you read on down, SoftWatch is a company that sells its analytics products that allows companies to access whether moving from one expensive license or Microsoft license to another could save them money. And they're also a Google Apps reseller. So, I don't know if this is just a headline to try to, encourage people to leave Microsoft Office, or, is the only reason people have Microsoft Office now is because they used to have Microsoft Office in the past?
Well, the
That's
problem
been my
I see with
complaint.
this, I'm going to interject for a minute, is I work with enterprise customers and education customers. And the one question I get asked all the time is interoperability with Microsoft Office. So some of it may be true, but some of it may be just, like you said, somebody trying to grab a headline.
Well, I know personally, the biggest thing that I push in my school district is the fact that we moved to Google Apps. Why teach to an archaic program when you can teach the tools that would transcend they would work in either Google Docs, Live 365, Microsoft Office, or I don't know, I can't think of anything else, LibreOffice, whatever. Instead of teaching to the tools, you could, instead of teaching the software, teach the tools.
Well, here's a problem with that, Chris. Like Google, for instance, they change their software too often for standardized tests and textbooks to keep up with that. And so, you don't want people coming up with content and ways to actually teach something. You want to make a standardized test that you can teach to and make that the substitution for real learning in America. And so a monolithic, slow-moving product like Microsoft Office fits that bill much better than a nimble, needs-based application suite such as Google Apps.
The analogy I always used in that environment, and still do when anybody asks me, is I didn't learn to drive a Chevy. I learned to drive a car. And there are certain things that are always true, like if it's a Chrysler vehicle, the cruise control is going to be on the steering wheel on the right-hand thumb button. There's going to be a cancel button in the middle, and a resume, accelerate button at the top, and a decelerate, cancel button on the bottom. That's how it is in a Chrysler. If you get in the Chevy, it's going to be on the blinker thing, and the button is going to be right in the middle of that to make it go. But you don't have to know that sort of stuff. If you know how to drive a car, you can figure that other stuff out along the way.
Right.
So I think it's, for a long time people taught how to use Microsoft Word 2007, and that was their textbook. When really what they should have been doing is how to edit in a non-destructive environment using a WYSIWYG editor. But to back to your point about is Microsoft Office dying, I will say in my environment, Office is everywhere, Excel particularly for what we do, but not because Excel is special, but because a spreadsheet is an easy way to view massive amounts of data in easily manipulatable forms, and it doesn't matter what that spreadsheet is. In fact, just Friday, I was regarded as a wizard because I knew how to build a relatively complex formula using Excel's formula language, and that's different from other languages. I know, going back and forth between LibreOffice and Excel, the formulas often aren't interchangeable. The syntax is different. Sometimes the whole concept of how you do things is different. But I say that to say, in my office, everybody uses Excel, but not as Excel. They use it as a row and column display device.
Right.
And because I knew how to do formulas, I was godlike for a couple of hours. Oh my gosh, you know how to do that? Yeah, it's not all that hard. You just have never had to.
Felt good, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just, frankly, I felt it was a little silly that there was adulation because I knew how to concatenate two columns. But if you don't know how to do that, that's magic. Anything sufficiently advanced is magic. As who was it who said that? Anyway, I just blanked.
Somebody from Star Trek, I think.
No, it was. Who said that? Oh,
I don't remember. I know you're. Yeah,
Asimov. Isaac Asimov, I think, maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I think Excel has just become the hammer that everybody has, and so every problem looks like a nail. So that's the way Office has been, and I think I might buy the numbers that their usage is going down, but that 7 out of 10 people never touch Office, that seems a little skewed to me.
Yeah. I think the numbers are skewed, but I think the numbers will be that way not too far from now. I think once, at least like in my environment, for example, my middle school kids have been doing Google Docs for everything. They don't use Word anymore, or spreadsheet, or Excel, or PowerPoint. None of them. They all use Google Docs. So in 3 years,
Arthur C. Clarke. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Well, I mean, in PowerPoint is not really that impressive anymore, because PowerPoint, it came around when people needed an easy, less expensive way to do a presentation. Now when you see people, what they use most is on video.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't do
though,
PowerPoint that much.
Right. But like I was saying, these kids are, they're 3 years before they're high school kids. So in 3 years, when all those kids that are Google Docs only users move into my high school, and my current vice principal, he's going to get his head rearranged a little bit, because they're all going to be saying, I don't want this Word.
Yeah.
Why are you teaching me Word? I know Google Docs. Let me use my Google Docs.
We can't spend too much time on this story, or we'll become the XL podcast. But I had an experience at my school. We had just done away with printing, and we had become paperless as much as we possibly could. And the way we did that was we just stopped buying ink, and we told the teacher, "There's the printer. It's still there. If you want it, go to Walmart, buy your own ink." But we don't do that anymore. And then that we moved from there. We had a couple of network color laser printers, like one in each hall, so if you had to print. But then we took printing away from the students. So if you wanted to print something, you had to send it to a teacher first, because we were getting pages and pages of WWE wrestlers being printed out.
Right.
And so, what I say that to say, after a few years of changing the culture of the school, we had a substitute teacher come in one day. And the students all had an assignment, and she said, "Now everybody print out your homework, your assignment, and then we'll grade it." And the students were like, "We don't know how to do that." "What do you mean you don't know you don't know how to print? We don't print." "Well, how do you do things?" "Well, it's Google Docs. We just share it with the teacher." And her mind was blown. It was two paradigms colliding. And she was like, "I don't understand what words are coming out of your mouth. I don't understand. How do you turn in homework without printing?" And they were on the other side. Why do we need to print? That's stupid. When I can click a share button and it's there, we have a folder, I just do it. Why do you want us to print it? And so it was two people, two different generations looking at each other going, "You are not speaking the same language I am." And it was both beautiful and tragic at the same time.
And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I'm having the same problem with my administration. So anyway,
we don't print, and so now I'm known around the office as the guy who hates paper. We have meetings and they're passing around paper agendas. I don't want that. It was emailed to us. Why would I want that? I already have a copy right here on my phone.
It's on your phone or tablet. Yeah.
Yeah, or somebody will come to my cube and ask for a pen. Let me go see if I have one. I got a Post-it note right here on my computer. I got a little yellow. I can put it there if you want. I can email it to you. I can instant message it to you. Why do you need a pen? So I'm that guy.
I'm not that extreme yet. I still have my Post-it notes in my little notebook next to me, but I'm getting there.
The only time I use paper is if I'm like on a phone call and I just have to jot down a couple of words really quickly, and then I quickly transcribe that to something electronic and throw the paper away.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. The next story, I don't get why it's there, but it was important to somebody. LXQT is a thing.
It is.
I think Chris put this in.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I did.
It is real.
It is real. It is awesome. This is the baby of LXD, or LXMD, whatever, the LX projects and the Razer QT project. They have merged and they've put their first public release. And I have yet to put it in any of my desktops because I don't have a test environment yet for it, but I am ecstatic. I now will have my QT in a super lightweight environment. I am happy.
All right, and QT, in case you don't know, is the foundation platform of KDE.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Chris is a big KDE fan, so this is the stripped down KDE in a super light environment, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
This will make all of my machines that I run KDE and just go, "Oh, why is it so long? Come back. I want my speed back to speedy."
And-
I am very happy.
And interestingly, it's cute. That's how they pronounce it.
Yep.
QT is cute. And in the land of lawsuits, somebody is filing suit against Facebook for privacy, I would imagine.
No, actually, if you've heard of Oculus, the virtual reality
Rift?
that
Yep.
Facebook bought last month for like $2 billion, ZeniMax Media has litigation going on with them because ZeniMax
that's
claimed,
beautiful. So they're not going to sue Oculus because Oculus doesn't have any money, but they get bought by a multi-billion-dollar company. Then the lawyers come out.
Right, and because ZeniMax claims that one of their former employees improperly shared some of its tech with Oculus for use in the Rift virtual reality headset. And of course, they respond, "We are disappointed but not surprised by ZeniMax's actions, and we will prove that all of its claims are false. There is not a line of ZeniMax code or any of its technology in any Oculus products." So yeah, wow, go figure. Somebody suing Facebook.
The thing that always bugs me about these lawsuits, and I don't know the particulars of this case, but it's almost always, Microsoft does this every time. You are infringing on our code. All right, show us the code that we're infringing on. No, we can't do that. That would be divulging a corporate secret. So how can we defend that we're not using your code if you won't show us what the code is? Oh, it's in there. Trust us. You're using our code. Which code is it? No, we can't tell you that. Pay us a license. For what? We can't tell you for what. We just need a license.
Yeah, if people do that, it's called protection, and you can go to jail. But if companies do that, you have to pay lawyers. So
it would
I'm
be a
going to
bad thing if
incorporate
something bad
myself.
should happen to your shop here. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Let me give you an offer you maybe can't refuse so much. So I'm going to be announcing the Seth Anderson Protection Incorporated LLC, and see what can become of that.
And moving on, we might have a new definition for the term kernel panic as Linux kills from on high.
Yes. Apparently, U.S. droneware used to be done by Solaris, which doesn't really exist anymore. It's kind of Oracle now. And the thought of Oracle powering U.S. drones is kind of a terrifying thing. So they are switching to Linux to be their drone-powered, to be the operating system of their drones. And so I thought it was kind of cool. Linux not only got the gig, but it kind of displaced Solaris, and it's enabling development of a more intuitive system and easier future software upgrades, presumably for more accurate delivery of death from above.
The Northrop Grumman MQ-8, known as the Fire Scout, an unmanned helicopter that offers unprecedented situation awareness, precision targeting support, and is capable of carrying Hellfire or laser-guided missiles. All with a pretty smiling penguin on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, baby. It's going to be raining hellfire and brimstone.
But at least, that's better than it running Windows.
Right.
Imagine if one of those things blue screened.
Are you sure you want to deploy the missile?
Oh, look, I see you're trying to deploy Hellfire. Do you want some help with that?
A little paperclip tapping on your screen. Would you like to incinerate your enemies now? No, I
Don't
was just
forget the
doing a
validation
systems
code.
check.
So there's
was-
activation now.
Yes, we're sorry, we can't launch this missile. You've not activated your warheads. That was
Your
the
drone was recently restarted to install important updates. Click here for this message to go away.
So Jack Bauer returned this week in 24 Live Another Day. I was never been a big fan of the original series, but I thought I'd give this a try. I watched it, and ironically, the plot of the pilot was a drone being hacked and killing people. And so now, any good neckbeard can hack a Hellfire.
Oh, Mark, we should have saved this as the lead into the Linux Academy. That would have been perfect. Why don't we go straight to the Linux Academy now?
So if you want to learn how to rain down death from above, go visit our friends. No, I'm not sure that's the ad they would want. And the next story is not surprising. The Wii U still sucks.
Right, yes. If anybody found $456 million laying around, that's how much money Nintendo lost last year. So if you could, give one back to them, they might give you a Wii U. Or if you just say that, you don't like something, they might just give you a Wii U because nobody wants them.
Go figure.
Yeah, and apparently, that's it. People love the Nintendo DSi 48 revamped with a half micron bigger screen so you can rebuy all your games again. But their Wii U, it just, it was built super cheap. It doesn't have the graphics or hardware specs to compete with the current generation of consoles that are out there. And their the controller, they haven't, there isn't that killer app that really make the controller be a competitive reason to buy the Wii U over something. You know, the fact that you can stop playing on the TV and continue playing on your controller is one of the big selling points, but none of the games are cool enough to make that a big deal. So yeah, Nintendo lost. I mean, they're approaching RIM territory now with their losses. So here's hoping Nintendo turns it around, because, you know, without Nintendo, we wouldn't have the Konami code, and where would we be without that in our lives?
It would be much more sad existence.
It would. I might have made it to my first period college class if I hadn't been playing that game so much.
Yeah, if it weren't for Super Street Fighter 2, I might have passed political science the first time around. And I can't come up with a lead into this one, so I'm just going to say the Pwn Phone.
Yes, there is an Android-based phone that is kind of, you know, I think we talked about the Pwn Pad a while back, but now this is an actual phone that is kind of designed to be, you know, we've talked about distros such as Katana or I can't remember any of the other names now, that are kind of like hacking distros for pen testing. This is kind of what the Pwn Phone is for. You can like pen test your network. And it's an LG Nexus 5 phone, so it's not like a crappy phone, but it is. It's like I say, they kind of list some of the software. It's got like a total of 103 network monitoring and attack tools loaded, 26 of which have been configured for launch by touch from the device's home screen.
Yeah, and the company, I love it, is called the Pony Express, Pwnie, Pony Express. He says, what we've done is take an Android 4.4 KitKat, recompiled the kernel. On the back end, it runs our own derivative of Kali Linux called Ponix, and it's running a full-blown Debian OS on the back end of Android.
So it's like a Wi-Fi pineapple from the Hack 5 guys.
But way more powerful.
But in a phone.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to lug your 17-inch Alienware laptop around to do pen testing anymore. You can do it from their pocket.
And you know, and with the batteries it would have, this would be, you know, it basically is an IT director's kind of nightmare, because this can be on and running wirelessly for hours and hours, and it doesn't have to be near some outlet. It could just be, you know, dropped somewhere inconspicuous, gathering whatever it can gather on your network.
Yeah, this scares me a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, you know, it's the tools are all out there. It's like a Metasploit. You know, I'm going to put all these terrible tools in one place and trust you to not do bad things with them.
Yeah.
This is the hardware version of Metasploit.
Yeah. Like I said, this scares me a little. Metasploit scared me a little. This scares me a little bit more. So yeah, this is kind of spooky.
Yeah, that's sometimes you can. It's hard to tell whether that hat is black or white.
Well, but you know,
really,
this way you
gray.
can buy it, and you don't have to go around to hunt for all these tools. They've put it in a place so you can see how vulnerable your network is. Yeah. All of the hackers out there know how to get these tools anyway, and us good guys, we don't have time to go out and find all the tools, so he put them in one place for us. You know, that would be a way to spin it and not sound bad.
Yeah, that's the only way to spin this without sounding bad.
But what I want to know is, can the Pwn Phone look at porn? And if it does, will you be locked up for security reasons?
Darn, you didn't go in order here. Sorry. Yeah, you know, we've talked before about ransomware, and I've shared the story how I am very grateful for the ransomware writers, because they gave me the impetus to quit/get fired from my old crummy job. Well, now Android phones have it as well. You get this thing that pops up, and it's like, attention, your phone has been blocked for safety reasons. You've accessed child porn, pay the fine, blah, blah, blah. And you can cancel it, and it'll stay gone for 5 seconds, but it'll come back up. And the way they figure that out is some people got this on their machine, they would kill it, and luckily the app was on the home screen. So in the 5 seconds it was off, he could find it and delete it. But yeah, so basically, ransomware is no longer a Windows-only tool. The first story I found on this claimed to be CryptoLocker has come to Android.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not CryptoLocker. It's just basic ransomware. CryptoLocker is probably not till next week, so don't get worried ahead of time. But yeah, so ransomware is now it's jumped platforms, and it can affect Android machines as well.
You got to go look. Obviously, the link to this will be in the show notes. We got to go look at the screen cap of this thing. It's awesome. It's got a picture of an angry-looking Obama pointing at you, and it says, "You are accused of viewing and storing and/or disseminating of banned pornography, child pornography, zoophilia, rape, etc. You violated the World Declaration on Non-Proliferation of Child Pornography. You are accused of committing the crime envisaged by Article 161 of the United States of America Criminal Law."
And then you can't read it anymore because it falls off the screen.
Yes. That would, that's scary. Obama pointing at me is a scary thing. So, whatever. If you get fished by this, you probably deserved it.
Yeah, remember we talked about the story where this one guy turned himself in because of ransomware on his computer. He thought he had been busted and went and turned himself in for child porn. So sometimes they can be good guys.
So for now, I would like to pause 2 minutes for the end of Everyday Linux and the beginning of Apple Haters Weekly. Seth, go.
Which one is this?
The excerpt.
Oh, darn it. Which one is my stupid phone here?
Third
hold
one
on.
from the bottom.
No, I'm...
His phone has the ransomware on
it. Pause while my computer catches up.
I just got to say that was a good transition. I was going to throw it to you. It was going to be very smooth, and you blew it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Contrary to the image it has cultivated in the popular press, Apple has admitted in internal documents that its strength is not in developing new technologies first, but in successfully commercializing them. When Apple was developing its campaign to promote the first iPhone, it considered and rejected advertisements that touted alleged Apple's first with the iPhone. As one Apple employee explained to an overly exuberant Apple marketer, I don't know how many things we can come up with that you can legitimately claim we did first. Certainly we have the first successful versions of many features, but that's different than launching something to market first. In this vein, the employee methodically explained that Palm, Nokia, and others had first invented the iPhone's most prominent features. Anyway, basically, and we've said it before, Apple is a great marketing company who produces top-notch hardware, not that they necessarily invent anything. DEC made the first mobile media player that Apple launched the first iPod, and the iPod was the first commercially successful one, but not the first one. DEC was actually somewhere between 5 and 10 years ahead of them with the disc-based song storage thing. And then, and again, they weren't the first with the smartphone. They were just the most successful. They were the first commercially successful of many things, but not necessarily the first. And, it just, Eric. Anyway, that's just all I wanted to say. Apple, good for you. I'm glad somebody admitted the truth, and I'm glad it kind of came out in one of the mini court documents between Apple v. Samsung World Domination Volume 789 that is currently playing out across the globe.
And that concludes this week's episode of Apple Haters Weekly. We now return you to the Everyday Linux podcast. So, in protest to the FCC's quote-unquote fast lane proposal, internet service provider has decided to throttle the FCC.
Yes,
Okay.
I thought this is awesome. Yes, I don't know if this is his actual thing, but I think it is. He calls it the Ferengi plan. The Ferengi plan is a special FCC-only plan that costs $1,000 per year and removes the 28.8 kbps modem throttle to the FCC. We will happily take credit cards, Bitcoins, and Dogecoins from crooked FCC executives that probably have plenty of money from bribes on our donation page. Sorry, we don't accept Platinum yet. But I just thought it was funny that here is an ISP fighting back against the FCC, taking a stand, even if it is somewhat of a symbolic stand, because they're only throttling to like the front pages of NetCity's site. And it basically bottlenecks anything coming from the FCC's IP address to 28.8 speed. So not even a 56K modem, a 28.8 modem. I just thought it was great, and I wanted to say, way to go, NeoCities. Kudos to you from me.
Yeah, so that's they're taking this quote unquote fast lane plan and carrying it to the logical extreme. All right, so if you have if you can pay extra to get speed over your normal speed, then the logical next step is to reduce your quote unquote normal speed, so that anybody who actually wants anything has to pay for the fast lane, and that's how you get people to pay for internet 3 or 4 times. Most of us are already paying for internet 2 or 3 times.
Right.
For example, I pay for it at home and on 2 different phones. I'm paying for internet 3 times. Plus, the people I pull down from are paying for internet as well. So every time I access the web, I'm paying for it minimum of twice, up to 4 times. But they're too greedy, and that's not okay for them. They want to say that if you actually want real good stuff, if you want to use our OC3 cable in the back there, well, you got to pay extra for that. Otherwise, this T1 line will do fine for the rest of the country. 300 million users on 1.5 megabits. We're okay with that. That seems to be a good normal baseline of bandwidth. But if you want extra, we can have a talk.
Yeah, you know, it's like you have speeds up to 487 megabytes, but will only guarantee 4 meg or 4K. If you want the guaranteed 487 megabytes, well, that's going to be the extra money. But, you know, otherwise you can have the standard speed with variable up to the max. So I think it's cool. Again, I love NeoCities for doing this. I hope somehow this works out well for them and for the net, because it's just, you know, it's going to relegate. The sad fact is this would relegate America as third world country in terms of internet access. And that seems to be okay. Everybody seems to be okay with that. And I'm not. But, you know, what are we willing to do to fight it? So I'm glad NetCities is doing something. Or NeoCities, I'm sorry.
All right, and this next one, just another case of stupid people being stupid. Oracle decides that they're going to copyright their API. So let me back up just a little bit, Seth, before we go into this.
Okay.
For our noob-type listeners, our grandma listeners out there, let's talk a little bit about what an API is. It stands for Application Programming Interface. It's a set of code that you release to the public and say, if you want to use our system, you can use this code to do so. Everything has an API. It's a very standard thing. So, like, for example, if I want to use Android, if I want to use an app, write an app that works on Android, I don't have to know the Android code. There's a set of APIs out there that say, if you use this code, we will grab a file. If you use this code, we will send that file. If you use this code, we will display this text. So the only way anything gets done is with an API. Oracle got mad because Google re-engineered their API and basically wrote their own version of Java. Mm-hmm. Now, their solution to that is saying, oh, well, our API code is copyrighted. It's like a book now. You can't copy it because we own the copyright on this thing that we freely distribute.
Right, and this was where I think we talked about this back in 2012 when a judge basically agreed with Google and said the code in question could not be copyrighted. But Oracle said, hey, our lawyers have to work for us whether there's a case or not. So we're going to go ahead and appeal this just to see what happens. And a three-judge panel from the U.S. Appeals Court Friday ruled that because we conclude that the declaring code and structure, blah, 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 basically they're reinstating the jury's infringement finding as to the 37 Java packages. So basically they said, hey, Google did actually infringe on Oracle's copyright, and Oracle can copyright their APIs. And again, I don't think I was hoping for some more uncommon sense in this case. I just think that the people who are making these laws and rulings, I wonder what kind of technology they have. Do they know how to turn on their computer, or does someone turn it on for them? Do they know how to write code, or do they think that just it magically works when I press this button? I don't think they understand what they're doing, but that's not stopping them from trying to change and take control of things they know nothing about.
It says here that 97% of the code is unique between Oracle and Dalvik, which is the Android Java API package thing. 97% is unique. 3% has overlapping names and overlapping structures. I would posit that if you look at any program written by any two groups of people, 3% of it is going to overlap. For example, if I'm going to print something, I'm going to call the command print.
Yeah.
If I'm going to open a file, I'm going to call the command open.
Open.
Why? Because I'm not an idiot. So that's this thing here, because two different groups of people working independently overlapped 3% of their effort. This is a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit.
Right, and and geneticists will debate whether it is 1.5 to 7% uniqueness in the DNA of humans and chimpanzees. So again, we're talking that level of difference. One is a human, one is a chimp. Although I do know some humans that would call this next statement into question, you can look at them and tell the difference. But most people would be able to say that's a chimp and that's a human, two separate things that share some characteristics. But if you're talking about code, there's just as much difference, but yet we think that's a patent infringement. I don't understand. Again, I don't think they understand either, and that's the problem.
That is a big problem.
But
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Didn't Sun sue Microsoft in like 97 for the same thing?
Yes, and Microsoft just decided to pay up.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So that's why it wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next thing in the what Seth calls the Because Mark Loves Numbers, everybody who wants a tablet has one.
Yes. Of course, this is the title of their headline is Apple's tablet market share suffers as tablet growth slows. And basically, for a while, even the regular media has been reporting how fast the tablet market was growing and how the desktop market was shrinking and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's data coming in that shows that Apple saw a 16.1% decline year over year for the first quarter. So basically last year they shipped 19.5 million. This past year they shipped 16.4 million. So almost a 1/3 decline. And the same thing with with most of the Android makers as well. Tablets seem to be plateaued or maybe even shrinking, suggesting that maybe the market is becoming saturated for tablets. I mean, like me personally, I have 2 tablets. I really don't know that I have much use for any more, unless I get rid of one or both of them first.
Yeah,
Or maybe maybe it's the post-tablet era already.
Yes,
And-
wearable tech.
Sticking with my assertion that anytime numbers are presented in the form of percentages, they're bogus. Apple's numbers, market share declined by 16%. Samsung grew by 32%. Okay, those seem reasonable. Lenovo grew by 224%. They sold 2 tablets this year instead of 1.
Right. So yeah, but the grand total year-over-year growth for tablet was 3.9, just under 4%. So again, and again, it's not like the PC market shrinks; it just doesn't grow. It's kind of stagnant. Well, I think less than 4%, you could almost say is stagnant. So we'll see. Is that just an anomaly of this particular quarter? Is it going to take back off in the second quarter and next year? Does everybody who have a tablet want one?
Yeah, that I stick by my initial assertion. If you want one, you've got one now. They've become cheap enough and available enough. I went to a local restaurant the other day, and now they have little tablets at the table where you can order drinks and pay for your food right there. Little 5-inch, and they're crap. The touch screen is resistive rather than capacitive. You got to mash on it. It's not good, but it's fine for what they do, and they've got 100 tables in there. They had to buy 100 of those. Obviously, they weren't going to pay $1,000 each for them. But I think now we're to the point where the tablet is so commoditized that we're making up reasons to use it. Let's put one at the table so you can push, I want another drink, instead of raising your hand and telling the waiter you want another drink. But we need a tablet for that.
Those flag makers for ponchos are going out of business.
Yeah, like the original Microsoft Surface was a table, and their idea was that you'll be able to see the menu and everything displayed on this glass at the table. Paper menus have been working for a long time, and the fact is nobody wanted a $10,000 table for you to look at your menu on.
And to get scratched up and
I
spill
think that was
drinks
just,
on. And
yes. But Bill Gates had the idea for the tablet PC before the hardware was ready.
Right.
So I think maybe Microsoft's idea for the table as the computing device, I don't think the hardware was really ready for it. It was too expensive to be commercially viable. But I could totally see the your table being your computing interface device.
Yeah. So I recently watched the Avengers again, just because I love when Banner says I'm always angry and smashes. I watched the whole movie for that one scene, pretty much. But all the way through that, there was these transparent displays with the touch thing, and you swipe this over here, and the 3D, through all the Marvel universe in these new movies, that has been the interface, the 3D tablet or the paper that rolls out, the various different things there, and all of them. As I was watching that, I was thinking, this looks great on film. But nobody would ever want to use this because you don't want a transparent display, because then you're looking what's behind your screen instead of what's on your screen. The contrast is almost. Have you ever had a rotating desktop and it rotated to something that made what you were doing hard to see? Because you were looking at something dark and then the desktop changed to something dark? Well, imagine that with a transparent display. Every time you change your angle or the lighting changes in the room or somebody walks behind you, the contrast, what you're looking at changes. It's ridiculous. It looks fine on paper. On film. It looks really cool. And Tony Stark and Dr. Banner can have a conversation through a screen, and that's really cool, but it would never actually be functional. And I think a lot of these things that are happening right now, I think Unity is a fine example of something that's really cool, but it's never going to actually be functional.
Yeah, well, we all know my feelings on Unity,
Yeah.
so...
So it's just, that's the thing.
Unity will never be functional.
Yeah, we're in this environment because we can make it cool. Let's make it cool, and we forget to make it functional. My rant a couple weeks ago about ditching the keyboard in favor of touch. Touch is never going to be as functional.
Movies are there because it just looks cool. It looks cool when they throw objects across screens. It just looks cool.
Right. And that's fine. It's the Minority Report interface looked cool. But who wants to get tennis elbow working a spreadsheet? Nobody actually
Exactly.
wants that.
Well, and here's the thing we don't realize is that a lot of those shots are special effects added in.
Exactly.
That conversation happened between two people and a see-through sheet of plastic. They CGI'd in the computer screen overlay, the Minority Report. How much of that and so everybody's trying to be the next Star Trek, and ooh, hey, look, this communicator device that and everybody knows that's one of the inspirations for the cell phone was Kirk flipping open his communicator. So everybody wants to be the new Star Trek and do all this stuff that looks cool, and because we have no good reason to upgrade the hardware we have, let's make it look like that movie. That's a great reason to upgrade. So let's develop something that looks like that and get people to buy stuff that looks like that. So we can
Well, if
be
they
like
can,
movies.
well, if they can get people to buy something like that, great for them. But I hope by the 23rd century, they discover what a cold fusion device is.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice. I saw that part in Into Darkness, and I was like, are these people stupid?
Yeah.
No wonder they killed each other off centuries before.
Yeah, never watch sci-fi with a physicist. Never watch a computer show with a computer science geek.
No kidding.
This one of the shows I was watching last season, because it was good enough to keep me interesting, but never really liked it, was Intelligence. It's been canceled now, by the way, but it was all about computing. And every time their lead computer scientist opened his mouth, I would roll my eyes. And my wife was like, what? What? And I was like, never mind. I would just ruin it for you. But everything he said is either crap or completely irrelevant to what they're talking about. Or both.
Like the movie Swordfish.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. But they're
that
just,
one's awesome.
yeah, just never go see a space movie with a physicist. I would never want to go see Star Trek with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't want to do that. And you don't want to go see The Net with me. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah, and for people out there who think we're just nerds, take a fireman and rent Backdraft.
Yes.
Just and watch the fireman go, you can't do that. You can't see anything. I can't believe they made a movie out of this. So, it's if you're in your field, you don't want to see movies about your field because it ruins it for everybody involved.
Yeah. Watch a Clancy movie with somebody from the CIA. See War Games 2?
Yes.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yes, it does exist.
Oh, sounds like a good candidate for the bad movie for him.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Along with my discovery of the Net 2.0.
My favorite terrible tech movie, Johnny Mnemonic. Enough said.
Oh, yeah.
You could have just said terrible movie. You didn't need to throw tech in there.
When Dolph Lundgren is your main bad guy, there's you've got potential there, but then when you make him spout off techno babble, you just lost it.
Yeah, I can't believe that Keanu Reeves played both in The Matrix and Johnny Mnemonic, because one's a great movie and one's a crappy movie.
But he played the same character. He's always played Ted in every movie.
Right.
He was Ted who could do kung fu in The Matrix. And there's moments there where he'd just say something like, "Whoa!" It's like, wow, it's Ted. Ted's back. We're 69, dude. So while we're talking about great things from the past, in 1997, on this date, May 11th, 1997, something great happened.
Deep Blue, a chess-playing supercomputer, defeats Garry Kasparov in the last game of the rematch, becoming the first computer to beat a world champion chess player in a classic match format. That's either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your view of technology. But this day...
Have you ever
in
seen
history-
Terminator 3? It's a bad thing.
Well, nearly 20 years later, we still haven't come up with a machine that can play perfect chess yet. You would think that that's something, chess is a purely deterministic. There's a finite number of moves and a finite number of combinations based on any board scenario. You would think that would be something computers excel at, but we still can't create a machine with all the technology we have that can play perfect chess, that cannot be beaten.
Well, that's because it's programmed by humans, Mark.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if Deep Blue programmed it, we'd be in trouble. Or if Watson programmed it.
Yeah. What was it? It was just a quote just very recently. Somebody said it's fine to make smart computers, just don't make them where they can make other smart computers.
Yeah, Replicate. It was on
Yeah.
Triangulation with
Was that
Leo
it?
the other day.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh, I can't remember who it
the
was.
Palm
Yep.
guy. That's who it was. The guy who invented the Palm.
Yep, that's the guy, and I can't think of his name.
All right, whatever. I gotta. This is a little listener feedback and a little. I don't know what to put there, but I got a great compliment from somebody just today, writing to us about the show, and they said your show is better than anything on Twit. Well, that's a great compliment,
That's awesome.
and it's also totally not
That
true.
is an awesome
But
compliment.
thank you for the great compliment. That's totally not true. We may be more entertaining than Paul Thurrott, but we're certainly not smarter than Steve Gibson.
Definitely not.
Okay,
we
so
should see if we should see if he would come on the show. That would be just funny to for 5 seconds.
Gibson?
If he just showed his face and then left, I think I'd be happy to share a virtual meeting room with Steve. I would be happy.
I can't even conceive of a universe where we would get that to happen. I mean, Steve Gibson is a special kind of geek. I was following him since before the Security Now podcast, way back in the days when he was writing, Shields Up and that sort of stuff. And he is just one of those classic super geniuses that there's only a handful of in any generation. And to get him to just get on mic and talk for a couple of hours every week is pretty amazing.
Yeah, because he's like, I taught myself JavaScript last week because of blah blah blah, and I invented this supersonic dog pacifier because I got tired of the dogs barking at here, and then and I wrote this open source application because I thought the net needed a better thing. I'm just like, dude, I couldn't do any one of those things poorly. And you've done them all this year.
I woke up this morning and on my way to coffee learned 3 new languages. So I've got that. He's just one of those guys. And through doing the podcast, I've had the privilege of interviewing some just true brilliant guys, and if I could add Steve Gibson to the list, that would be amazing. But that's neither enough geek hero worship. I would not want to go to any movie with him where they're talking about technology.
That would be horrible. Unless he can turn off his brain to watch a mindless movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe when they actually release the Honor Harrington movie, because he's a big Honor Harrington fan, so I might go see that with him because he might just like it.
Starting tomorrow morning, I will begin reading the Lost Fleet series. Start with Dauntless, largely
awesome.
because of you talking about it, Seth.
That was an awesome weekend. I did that. So
How many books is in that set?
6, yeah. Audible has finally dialed in on what I like, and now every day they're saying, "Hey, here's a book you might like." Crap, I do like it. I gotta buy that one, and they offer them to me at a good rate. Hey, it's only $5.95. Well, okay, that's a good deal. And then I look back at my history. I spent $7,000 last month on $5.95 books because they're really good at what they do. You know who else is really good at what they do? LinuxAcademy.com is really good at what they do. And what is it they do? They take people who don't know much about Linux and turn them into Linux administrators. They do this by the way of step-by-step video courses that are designed to take you from being a beginner to a certified professional. And they've been with us as an advertiser for a long time. We appreciate them being there. And we had some complaints last week from the chat room that their ads run too long. And somebody asked, do they pay you for a 5-minute ad? Actually, they pay us for a 30-second ad. But you just can't say all the goodness that there is about LinuxAcademy.com in only 30 seconds. I couldn't tell you that they have over 200 training videos, that each one of those training videos has its own PDF study guide with it, and that they have quizzes that go along with that, and that they have practice exams exams, and that all of these things are organized in this easy-to-follow module system where you start at the beginning, you know exactly what's expected of you, you know how long it's going to take, you know what you're expected to do, and when you're done with that module, you are trained and certifiable and ready to go. I couldn't do all that in 30 seconds and breathe at the same time. LinuxAcademy.com. And I just did all that. I didn't even mention the virtual labs that you get through on Amazon Web Services, up to 8 machines. You can run any one at a time, unless you pay extra for their virtual lab series of things that you could go in there. You can I just totally lost my train of thought. The virtual lab is a set of different courses that let you run up to 3 different virtual machines at the same time. And I'm not going to talk about pricing of that. That's different for each course that you go into. But it's real-world experience. You can set up a virtual server, set up another virtual server, have those 2 servers interact with each other, have a client in the middle, all working on real-world virtual equipment in a safe environment, so that if you do something stupid like set your home directory to 777, you're not going to get hacked because you're in a secure virtual environment. They're adding courses every day. They're about to release a whole bunch of modules on becoming a certified Amazon Web Services administrator. They're adding not only Linux Uber Geek stuff, but there's also one of the first courses is Introduction to Linux, where it takes you through the history of Linux. It starts you with the basic command line stuff. It moves you through the GUI. They have a whole course on desktop Linux. It's not all about server stuff anymore. All these things there for an unreasonably cheap price, frankly. $25 a month if you want to go month to month. But if you want to buy a 12 months in advance, that goes down to $19 a month. But if you're not sure you're ready to shuck out $25 and see if you like it, how about $1? 14-day trial for $1. You get in there, you look around, you look at the videos, you download some PDFs, you see if you like what you see for only $1. Then when you're done and you're ready to commit, and I know you're going to want to be because their stuff is that great. They're EIA, TIA certified, they're CompTIA certified, they're LPIC certified, as good as, what's the word? High quality, excellent content. They're just good. That's why I rave about them for 5 minutes every show. So check them out, and when you do, use Everyday Linux in the referral box and let them know that we sent you there.
And hey, if you think that $19 a month, if you pay annually, is too much, I went searching online and I found a place that for the bargain price of $996 a year gives you virtual labs.
Awesome.
And practice exams. So in addition to video courses. So, again, if that $25 a month is too much, you can do $99 a month. The choice is yours.
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable with $25 a month, you can pay 4 times that. That's fine.
Yeah, but if that's the only thing holding you back, I'm sure you could ask Anthony and say, Anthony, I'm just not comfortable with this $25 a month. Can you bill me $99? I'm sure he would make an exception for you because they are all about making their customers and users happy. And if that's what it takes to land your business, he will give you the other price.
If you've got a boss who says it just can't be any good for that price, pay them $25 a month. Send us a check for $74 a month. You got $99 a month, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, we won't mind.
Yeah. We'll be, we can give you the Element LP branded Linux Academy for $99 a month.
Yeah, we'll put a logo right up there at the top and go. So, all right, here we go. An hour and almost 20 minutes into the show. Now we get to our interview with Roberto Donert. Awesome. But I think what I think is interesting is he is unique here because we're talking about paying for a service that you can find free elsewhere. And Black Lab Linux is one of those things. He's one of those evil jerks on the internet that charges for Linux. How dare you speak such evil? Don't wait for the translation. Speak. Hi, Roberto. How you doing? Let's just go ahead and get the elephant in the room addressed. You charge for Linux. How do you get away with that? Why do you do that?
Well, what we do is we charge for the enterprise version, for the professional version of Linux. You can actually download Black Lab from the internet free of charge, redistribute it, take it to your lug, if lug still exists. Take them to your lug, take them anywhere you want, and give them to anybody you want.
No,
what we do is...
That's not true. That can't be true. Only evil people charge for Linux. You can't be a nice guy and charge for Linux. There's something wrong here. This just doesn't add up.
What we do is we use the way that TerraSoft used to do, which was whenever they had a new release, they would charge for 30 days for that new release to help support the project, and then after 30 days, we release it for free. So people can download it for free, whatever. If you join the Black Lab network, you actually get the release at the time that it's put out.
And so for what is it? It's $25 for a USB key, if I remember correctly.
And live CD, yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if I want to send you, if I want you to send me a pre-configured USB key, it's $25. What do I get for that $25? I get the OS. Do I get anything else?
You also get an install guide.
Okay.
Okay.
Full colored, full featured. And also for people who have low bandwidth and who don't want to go through the hassle of trying to make a live USB or make a live CD, we offer that service.
Any level of support after that for that $25, or do I have to pay extra for that, or is there support available?
You got, well, with $25, you get 30 days of email support.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, that works.
So
Yeah.
now that we got that out of the way, I didn't want to go any further because I knew that the neckbeards in the world are gonna fixate on that. So okay, that's out of the way. You charge for it because you like to eat, right?
Right.
That's okay. You're allowed to make money.
Exactly.
And the thing is, the GPL license allows you to sell Linux. That's not evil.
Yep.
But it also allows me, once I have paid my $25, I can give it out for free if I want.
Exactly.
So it's mine to do with as I please once I buy it. That's
Exactly.
okay. That's what the GPL allows. He's not a jerk. Well, I don't know if he's a jerk or not, but he's not a jerk just because he's charging for Linux. But now let's talk about what Black Lab Linux is. As I read your website, it reads to me like the desktop version of CentOS. You're trying to build a stable, professional-grade version of desktop Linux instead of server Linux. Is that an accurate assessment?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And because
That's
your
exactly
focus
what's on.
because your focus is on stability, it's not bleeding edge. It's not built on the latest and greatest stuff, just like CentOS isn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it, Mark.
Awesome. Thanks for the interview. It's been great having you on. So what can we expect to get with Black Lab Linux? What is it built on? What does it have in it? What are its strengths and weaknesses?
It's built on Ubuntu, and right now it's built on the 12.04 release. What we do is that we go ahead and pre-configure it with packages like LibreOffice, multimedia, things like that. But one of the things we do is that every 6 months on the desktop release, we go ahead and roll out a service pack, which includes an updated kernel, updated applications, all your bug fixes, everything is included in that service pack. The commercial version, what we do is we upgrade that with a service pack every 12 to 18 months. Because, as you know, enterprises and education facilities, they don't like to really upgrade all that much.
Right.
Yep.
So it's based on 12.04. You're always based on the long-term support version?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So as Ubuntu releases new LTSs, that's when you get a new version of Enterprise Black Lab Linux.
Right.
Okay. So you mentioned the multimedia stuff. When I get the USB stick and I put it in my computer and I format the drive and go, am I going to be able to pop a DVD in and watch it right away without hassle?
The DVD, Blu-ray, Flash, QT, QuickTime, Windows Media, yeah.
If you've ever tried
All right
to
out of the box.
If you've ever tried to get a Blu-ray to play on Linux, I'm telling you that's worth $25 right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
So you have to pay licenses for that stuff, right? So some of that $25 is going to go to your licenses fees, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. What else are you using the money for? I can see by your palatial background there with the gold inlaid bricks and the women feeding you grapes that you obviously lead a lavish lifestyle. But other than paying for your own expenses, what does the money that I pay for Black Lab Linux go to?
Well, we also pay the developers because, they have to eat as well. We also replace aging equipment that's gone bad, website stuff, you know.
All right.
And like you said, certifications.
All right.
Well, it's understandable for the $25.
Now, if I don't choose to pay for it and I go to your community site and I download it, what am I not getting?
You're not getting 30 days of email support. You have to go to the forums, and you know, you are the one that has to build the key or build the live CD.
So if I download your community version 30 days after it came out, what was it, May 4th? Was that your release date? Somewhere around there.
May 5th.
May 5th, okay.
May 5th.
So it came out on May 5th, and you so on June 5th, I'll be able to get the version right now that's brand new right now for free.
Well, if you go to Seth, you yourself personally can get it right now.
So, but if I do that and I don't pay you anything, I still can play a Blu-ray out of the box?
Yeah.
So you're just giving away your licenses.
Yeah.
So you just went from being a jerk to being a hero.
More or less.
Well, most of the
Sounds
stuff
like to me.
most of the stuff we focus on is the enterprise stuff, which is the commercial version I was talking about.
All right, tell us about
With
that.
with enterprises, like I said, they get service contracts to where we can actually go ahead and maintain the distribution for exactly 12 months. They pay about, depending on the license, about how many licenses they buy. That's determinant on how much we charge. But we maintain the distribution. We actually keep them updated, and we have what's called a custom configuration, where we will build your own version for you and maintain it. And that has unlimited, and you can install that on as many machines as you like.
Okay.
Wow.
So you said you don't. Unity will never be functional, I think was your phrase. So what are you running? If it's based on Ubuntu 12.04, what are you running instead of Unity?
XFCE desktop.
Okay. Tell me about that as though I'd never heard of it, because I'm not sure I have.
The XFCE desktop is a lightweight desktop, and that's good for older machines and even the new machines that you want to save your resources on. So you don't have all the desktop effects that you have with GNOME or anything like that, but you have more stability and you have more functionality built out of the box.
So if I like Glass, then this is not the distro for me.
Right.
All right.
But we do have subtle effects built in. Drop shadows, some transparencies, but we don't do the whole wobbly windows, the windows that explode, that kind of thing. I just don't see the need for it. So.
But that takes all the fun out of the desktop.
Well, if you would like, you can download Compiz and you can go ahead and make that happen. I won't stop you.
Very true. Very true. So I
like
have a
wobbly
question
windows,
for you.
just for the record.
Just because I'm the Fedora guy in the room, why Ubuntu and why not use something like a Red Hat or CentOS as the base instead of Ubuntu?
Well, we did look at Red Hat. When we first started, my goal was not to build one, the distro, because I felt that there were too many out there. But when I looked at Red Hat, it was too expensive to actually go ahead and throw out to my users at the time, and the Fedora project was not very stable. SUSE was not very stable at the time because they just got bought out by Novell, and so without that kind of predictability, I didn't feel comfortable selling it to anyone. So we decided to create our own version.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned the enterprise version. So this is designed to be a drop-in replacement for Microsoft Windows in the enterprise. Can I assume from that it's going to serve as an AD client, it's going to register on the domain, it's going to do that sort of stuff out of the box?
Yes, with the enterprise version, you get things like Active Directory, pre-configured Samba, and a lot of proprietary software that we can't redistribute without a license. But
and that's not downloadable for free 30 days later.
No, that's not.
Okay.
That is about $120, and like I said, for one license, and then it goes up determine it on how many that you need.
Okay. So you're licensing those per seat.
Right.
So if I want to
Per seat
drop
licensing.
in, let's say I want to drop in 1,000 to make the math easy. I want to drop in 1,000 machines and do away with Windows on my network. What am I going to pay for that?
Are you buying the machines from me, or are you?
Let's say I've got
buying just
machines.
licenses
I've got existing machines. I just want to wipe the hard drives and put Black Lab Linux on them.
for 1,000 licenses. About $5,000.
Okay, so $5 a license, and that's does that renew annually, or is that one time per version? How does that work?
That renews annually. You can go ahead and buy it. You can use it for as long as you would like. So if you want to use it for 3 or 4 years, but if you just pay for the 1 year, then you just get 1 year of support.
Okay.
So
that's license and support.
Right.
And what level of support am I going to get? Is it still email support, or is there a phone number?
That one you actually get phone support. You get on-site support as well.
Wow.
And remote support.
All right, so $5 a license at that volume. I get not only an OS, but an Office suite and a video editing suite. What are the packages that come in that out of the box?
In the enterprise version, you get the Office suite, you get the Adobe Reader, you get Active Directory client. You also get the Black Lab SDK built in, so you get all your development tools and everything that you need. You also get NFS and all the advanced networking configuration tools. And also you get support for Oracle, because we put in all the prerequisites for Oracle, the database, and everything in there for you.
Okay.
Wow.
So for roughly the cost, because at that volume, a Microsoft Office or Microsoft Windows license is going to cost about $5 too. So for about the cost of that, I get the OS plus everything that the OS needs to run on.
Yep.
Correct.
And so you're using LibreOffice because that's what's in the Ubuntu repositories?
Yes, LibreOffice, and also we got permission from Microsoft to include the Microsoft Office Online web apps with our distribution as well.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that, I probably could have done it without asking, but with recent happenings with Oracle and Google, I wanted to ask permission first.
That's a safe bet. So
Yeah.
when you say you offer remote support, are you using like an SSH client? Or
SSH or a VNC.
All right.
okay. So you're building a VNC tunnel, an SSH tunnel for the VNC client then, right? Correct?
Correct.
So every client has a VNC server turned on by default?
Correct.
All right. So that's, as an administrator, that's something I look forward to. I need to be able to remote support my own users. So that's built in and turned on and ready to go?
Exactly.
All right.
Cool.
And
also we have the Google Chrome web browser, because I live in North Carolina. In North Carolina, the state of North Carolina, a lot of their public access sites or web apps that they use, they require Google Chrome or a Chromebook if you're not using
Really?
Windows. So, yeah. But you have to remember this state is backwards, because only a year ago that they dropped NetWare.
yeah, in Texas,
Wow.
it's still IE, and I think it's like IE 10. It's not even the latest version of IE. All their testing stuff requires IE, and that used to make me mad. I used to have to build RDP sessions just to take this one stupid standardized test because my Linux clients obviously didn't have IE on them.
Yes. Now we have an education version as well that is like the enterprise version, except it's tailored more to schools. And with that one, we're very light on the licensing fees. $299 gets you a full license to do with it whatever you want, redistribute among the students, pass on to any school in your district. And we do that for the schools.
And is there a difference between I mean, is it the same ISO, or is there different stuff on it?
There's a lot of different stuff on it.
Okay. So
We have more educational focused tools and more easy networking tools, so that like NitroShare, we include that by default on the education version.
Okay.
And we also have thin client utilities installed on the education version for those who want to set up a thin client environment.
Cool. I still get drop-in AD support, right?
All right, you still get AD support, and also with the Oracle stuff, you still get that as well.
So that's $300 per institution.
Per institution, correct.
Awesome.
Wow, that's nice and priced for education. Even if you're a poor district, that would still be within reach.
Exactly, and that's why we did it, because if you look at like Google now, they're giving away Chromebooks for free. Who wants a Chromebook? But I mean, they're giving it away for free. Apple, they charge you what, $300 a machine for schools? I'm not sure what the pricing is for Apple. I don't talk to them about it, but I know it's pretty low.
They don't give those breaks anymore. They used to.
Oh, they don't.
Not anymore. You get like a 5% discount for being a school.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, last time I looked, anyway. That was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you probably have to pay more for being in school.
That's right.
Because they're Apple, and
It's the education tax.
only the best for the kids, because don't you love the children?
Okay, I remember in Granville County around here about 2 years ago, they gave that school system free Apple iBooks or MacBooks or whatever they're called now. I don't even know what they're called now. I don't use Apple, but now I see why they still use them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
So you said earlier that you sell hardware too. Tell me about that.
Yes, we do. Well, we partner with Acer and HP, and what that does is that we can install Black Lab Linux on their hardware, and you can actually send it back to them if something goes wrong, and they will actually service the machine instead of telling you, oops, Windows is not installed on it.
So I'm going to flip this laptop over, and it's going to have a service tag on it. I'm going to read the service tag to the Indian fellow on the other side of the phone, and he's going to recognize that this has a legitimate version of Linux on it, and he's not going to tell me to reformat and go away.
Right. Exactly.
That's a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
And Acer, they already ship Black Lab on many of their recycled machines to the third world. So, you know, I have a pretty good relationship with them when it comes to that.
That's cool.
I have a feeling that I have another tool now in my belt for calling to the Dump Microsoft campaign.
There you go.
Exactly.
So let's talk some pricing on your boxes there. I assume that you're going to pay a premium, so it's probably going to be a little more than your standard HP stuff. So give me some rough numbers on your current pricing for say I'm a school and I want to put in 2 labs. I'm going to buy 50 computers.
50 computers. Well, I have to do the numbers on that, but it would be, like you said, you'd probably be paying a pretty good premium. Let's go ahead.
I'm not going to hold you to it. You can make it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
You could just spitball it.
So you're looking at about 2 labs at 50 computers a piece. You're probably looking at about close to 30 or 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about what I figured
Wait,
it would be.
now that's for 100 computers total?
Yeah, that's for 100 computers total. Like I said,
Okay.
don't quote me on that. No, I don't want anybody calling me telling me they want that pricing, but
So you're looking at
that's-
$600 a machine, roughly.
roughly yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the more you buy, obviously, the more of a break I'm going to give you.
Right. That's typical. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's right. I wouldn't say it's even a premium. That's pretty close to normal pricing when it comes to, you know, that quantity of machines for, you know, a school. That's pretty close to what I get right now when I go to bid.
Right. And then when you call HP in case one of the machines goes bad or something, they're not going to tell you to reinstall Windows 8. They're going to say, okay, you got Black Lab on this. What's the problem?
So
Wow.
what kind of hardware am I going to get? What are you selling right now in terms of?
On the professional side, what we have are workstation class machines. And so, I mean, these are pretty professional machines. These are the same machines that are used by DreamWorks, and they're also used by the LA County Sheriff, which happens to be a customer of mine. Let me get it out. And then we also have what's called the Brick. I don't know if you guys saw that on the website.
I saw it. Tell us about it.
The Brick is a machine it's a mini PC configuration. It's small. It's about, well, the size of a brick, and that's why we call it the Brick. Anyway, but that machine is that's one of our fastest sellers. You can buy that single, or you can actually buy that as part of an 8-node configuration.
So it's that's an Acer or an HP, the brick? Looks like it's an Acer.
The brick is actually a custom configuration that's designed by Zotac,
Okay.
and so Zotac creates the machine, but we brand it with our logos, our emblems, and everything. And
So it
we
just
work with them closely as
it's
well.
designed to hang on the back of a monitor, plug in a VISA or VGA or HDMI cable, and go.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool.
Well, and it boots right off the bat, so fast boot up time.
Running off a flash memory.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Any chances of changing from XFCE to some other desktop once it's installed, or from you guys on their own, or are you guys going to stay XFCE?
What you guys can do is go ahead and install any desktop version that you want. I don't care if you install KDE or whatever, because basically what we look at is the core system. Okay, and I happen to be a KDE user myself, so
Thank you,
you know
sir.
I don't
Thank
care.
How
Yeah,
are you
and
using
because of the
KDE?
problems with XFCE, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I mean, they're like a year late on their new release. So
Yeah.
right now we're debating on whether to change from XFCE to maybe KDE or now even LXQT, or forking out XFCE.
Now, I don't know if you've ever. I'm a big Bluetooth user, and one of the biggest issues I have right now with any of my Linux installs is my Bluetooth adapters not working with my headsets. Are you having that problems as well, or is that?
I've never
something
had that
else
problem.
Oh, so it's just me. Gee, thanks.
All right, so I'm looking on your website right now, and I've got your Acer Aspire XC, 2 gigahertz processor, 8 gigs of RAM, a terabyte hard drive, DVD, ATI Radeon HD 8400, gigabit Ethernet, integrated Wi-Fi, plus Bluetooth with a 3-year warranty, $650, not including a monitor. So that's that's not an unreasonable price at all, frankly.
Right. Yeah, and that was another thing. I don't know if you guys remember Commodore USA that came out a few years ago.
No.
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not familiar with it.
But I mean, he was pretty expensive online with his machines and his custom stuff. But one thing that I like is that we are actually pretty much cheaper than even System 76 on some of this stuff. So,
Yeah. I'm a big fan of System 76. So yeah.
oh, trust me, I don't have a problem with System 76. I have a couple of their machines myself.
So do you do anything in the server range, or are you all desktop oriented?
We do a file and print server, and that one is a little bit different. That's all it has in there. We also have what's called expansion kits, and what that does is that actually has like web server, has stuff like virtualization and things like that. Whatever you want to use the server for.
Okay.
For enterprise server deployments, like if somebody has a enterprise environment, they want something in the course of a Red Hat server or a Novell server, that we actually partner with Red Hat, and we sell Red Hat Enterprise for that.
Okay. And I see here in the notes, I think Seth put it in there, you guys have figured out a way to do Netflix?
Well, that is for the Media Center edition. We have a Media Center box that we sell, and that's for the living room. That's so you guys can actually plug it in your machine, sort of like an Apple TV.
All right.
And what we did is we actually configured Wine, a special version of Wine, to actually run just Netflix. And we're working with Netflix on that. They're actually looking at it and before they put their stamp of approval on it, because obviously, as you know, they don't have a Netflix client.
Right. So is that the Compolio wine that you're running?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a something in the Ubuntu repositories Netflix desktop that
Right.
is supposed to do all that. So is you're using something based on that?
Very similar, yes.
Because that didn't work at all for me when I tried it.
Yeah.
That was
But that
major fail.
Yeah, but that only comes with the Media Center edition. So I mean, that's something unless you want to buy that type of hardware. Then I mean, that's where you get it. We're not building into the distribution at all.
All right. Is that legal?
Yeah, it's legal.
Okay.
It's legal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, you have to say that.
So, are you bundling the like? I see that your desktop is using that ATI. Is that the proprietary driver or the open source driver?
We actually ship the open source driver, but we will support you if you install the binary driver. So if you buy if you use the binary driver, we will not hold that against you.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking with with the Steam boxes that are starting to show up, and they're running Ubuntu as their base for the Steam boxes. So I was just wondering if
actually they're running Debian.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're running Debian, but that's Ubuntu not very far fetched from Debian. I was just wondering, have you tried running Steam on any of your boxes to see if they hold up?
Actually, yes. We have the Steam client installed, and they actually hold up pretty well.
Awesome.
And actually, for the $25 too, you get a version of Steam. You get the Steam client installed.
Okay, so the pen drive thing comes with Steam client ready to roll.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Wow, I mean, sounds like everybody should be paying $25 for Black Lab Linux with all the stuff you get. I mean, it's more like, why wouldn't you pay $25 to get all that?
Because you can wait 30 days and not pay for it. And this is these are Linux users we're talking about. They don't pay for anything.
Right,
well, think about it. You're helping to support the project. The Black Lab Linux project. You're helping to support us.
Money.
Yeah, okay. That was a court scene going on there. We had two people talking at the same time. So, Seth, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, I'm all about being a cheapskate, but sometimes you got, if something's good, you need to give them some money because otherwise, I understand there's labors of love that people do in their spare time, but, Big Daddy got to eat sometime, and if I can't make any money at this, I got to go where the money is. So
yeah, I feel that about this podcast. If it's good, you got to give us money. I'm just waiting for it to get good.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's all the questions I had. Now I'm going to just turn the floor over to you, Roberto. What have we not asked you? What do you want to say that you haven't yet?
Well, one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about Black Lab is that we're all jerks for charging for Linux.
You jerk?
That's what they say. I get about 50 emails from people who tell me they will not buy Linux, and I'm like, okay, that's nice. No one's telling you have to buy it. So, I mean, that's one of the biggest misconceptions people have is that we are just totally commercial, we're evil, and that we're trying to sell something that's free.
Well, if you go to the Ubuntu download page, you got to go past the donate button to download it, right? So they make it actually an extra step to not pay them. So what you're doing is not unheard of by any means.
But you want to hear something funny? I actually did the same exact thing on my website, and somebody reported it as a phishing website.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Go figure.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but people who are interested, http://www.blacklablinux.org.
Yeah. So I'm looking right now. I'm at the Ubuntu page. I went to the download, and the default thing there is a $16 contribution.
Exactly.
And
they don't have any of the codecs. They don't have any of the proprietary stuff. They can't play a Blu-ray.
Yeah. So the big button says "Pay with PayPal." Then in little print it says "Not now. Take me to the download." So they want you to pay. But for the same reasons everybody else wants you to pay. People like to make money when they work.
Exactly.
If they can't make money doing this, they're going to have to stop doing this and go make money somewhere else.
Well, Linux, I've made money off Linux. I'm not going to say that. That sounds terrible. I've made a living off of Linux since about 2007.
So
and
this is your only job?
Yeah, it's my only job. And
Wow.
one of the things that I found is that commercially we do well. When it comes to the free and open source community, a lot of times we lag with those guys. And I think that's because it is what it is. They see what we are, they hear the word commercial, and then they just like, well, I can get Ubuntu for free.
Right.
And they go.
And in the business world, free is actually a negative. They
Yes,
feel
it
more
is.
comfortable if you pay for it.
Exactly. Exactly. And you would be surprised how often I see that. Or probably wouldn't be surprised how often I see that, but
Because
It is our show.
there's two questions that you always hear. One is how can it be good if it's free, and two, who
Uh-huh.
am I going to call if it screws up?
you want to
Because-
hear something funny? Is that actually with one of my clients, which was U.S. Foods, okay, I had their IT director tell me that I charged too little and that he would not buy it until I raised the price.
Did you say okay? It's now $800 a license.
Now it's $120 for one license. I'm like, okay, you guys want the price raised? Here you go.
Let me get my eraser out. I can fix that right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True story. But I mean, it was just so funny to me that in the commercial world, I see that. Then when I get home, I pop open my email client, and I got somebody who wrote me an email. I will not pay for Linux.
Well, that's the difference between enterprise and
Yeah.
the free users of Linux.
Welcome to
Exactly.
the internet. Maybe you've heard of it. People here don't always make sense.
Exactly.
Yes, and we lead the way on that many times.
So how did you guys hear about us?
Well, I was actually, I don't remember the name of the story, but it's a couple of weeks ago. I read this story and it mentioned Black Lab Linux, and I went, well, I've never heard of Black Lab Linux, so I searched on them and came across your website, and I shot y'all an email and said, hey, would you like to be on the show? And you said
I
yes,
said yes.
and we set up a time.
The Pear Linux story, is that where you saw it?
That was one of them, I think. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything about that
Yeah.
or not.
Okay,
so-
Seth Forstall, who is an employee of mine, was an employee of mine. He was under contract with me. He was under contract for another 15 months, and he got a job offer. He got a job offer from Apple, and I said, sure, no problem. You know, I'm not going to hold you to your contract if it's something you really want to do. I'm not an asshole. Apple actually called me before I actually had the conference with him and told me that they would buy out his contract. And I was like, no, that's not a problem. Anyway, so he went to work with them, and somehow his goodbye letter that he wrote to all of us somehow found its way onto the internet. I don't know how. Somebody leaked it, and he said he was going to Apple to work on a Linux endeavor. I don't know what he's doing for Apple, though. Everybody asks me, what's he doing for Apple? I don't know. He's under contract not to talk about it. So I don't know what the project is. So if it's Pear Linux, it's Pear Linux. I don't know. The Pear Linux guys say it was not them. So it was not Apple that bought them. So I don't know what's what.
Cool.
And Pear Linux, in case you don't know, is one of the many Linux distributions that's trying to mimic the Apple OS. And
Well, was
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah, was
when
trying
they were
to.
around.
And they were purchased by an unnamed company.
Well, I'm not going to sit there and spread rumors or anything like that. By God, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I heard that actually the developers were paid to stop developing, not that they were bought, but that they were paid to stop it. So I don't know.
That's what I heard too.
Well, it's the same difference.
Yeah.
Money was paid, and the project wasn't theirs anymore. Whether they bought it and killed it or paid them off, either way.
Yeah.
You know, I have tried many of the trying to be like a Mac distributions, and the more they succeed, the less I like them because I don't like
Oh, I
the way
do
Mac
too.
does things. And it's just what I like, and I don't like the way Macs do things. I don't like their quote unquote natural scrolling. It's entirely unnatural.
Yeah.
And when I loaded up my Linux Mint and it had that on, I was like, what? And so immediately I turned it off because that's not natural.
Right.
I go up to go down. That's not natural.
But you see, the whole thing I see in Linux in this world is that there are so many people that try to mimic the Mac or Windows. They don't do their own thing. Now, the one thing that we try to do is make it comfortable for Mac users and Windows users, but we actually have our own design ethos to our desktop.
Which is
Well,
what?
that's good.
Yeah.
So what is
it's
what is the underlying personality of your desktop?
something brand new that no one hasn't used.
Okay. So you got to try it to understand it.
Exactly. But, we have like our start menu on the left side of the screen, clock on the right side of the screen. And that was one thing, is that Santa Fe Public Schools, when their users were using Black Lab, we had a bar at the top, like a Mac, and so many of the teachers did not know how to use that. So they were like, can you please move it to the bottom of the screen?
Yeah.
So it'll be more Windows-like.
Muscle memory, man, that's powerful.
Yeah.
We've been trained since 1995 that you go to the bottom left to start.
Exactly. Now, other things like Unity and Cinnamon, and I'm not even going to say Mate, because Mate's more like GNOME 2, but like Unity, all right? One thing that I hear from the enterprise world, which is the dominating world, is that they do not want to see a new desktop. They don't want to see it.
Yeah.
There's no need for it, because their users are used to one thing. Why go through the hassle?
Yeah, why break it if it's already working?
Yeah, welcome to Windows
Exactly.
8. My wife fired up our new Windows 8 laptop and was like, I don't know how to do anything because the muscle memory was broken.
Exactly.
That's the problem everybody has, but you can't move forward without breaking from the past. So we're in that time right now where everybody's trying to figure out what the next thing is, and nobody knows. And
Well, the whole thing that you were talking about earlier with the do what Star Trek does, the LCARS interface, which I'm sure you guys saw it back in the day when people were trying to imitate it and all that. That's sort of, to me, what Windows 8.1 is, or Windows 8 is trying to mimic. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it just looks LCARS.
it's interesting.
I could see that parallel. So
Yeah.
You got to be a really big geek to know what that is, and so I'm not even going to explain it. Look it up. But yeah, there have been a couple of guys who have replicated that almost entirely.
Exactly. And it looked unintuitive on the screen, and it's still unintuitive now.
Right. Okay, well, before we hit the 2.5 hour mark, I think I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to ask you what I always ask everybody else. If nobody hears anything else but this next statement that you're about to make, what's the one thing that you want people to make sure they leave this podcast hearing?
Give Black Lab Linux a try. Don't sit there and just look at the word commercial or look at a price tag and think that we're such evil people. Go in there and actually try it. One thing that we do is that we leave the previous version up for the remainder of the time until it goes to the new version, goes to the free version, so people can actually sit there, download it, try on their hardware, and make sure it works. Because one thing we don't do is we don't degrade hardware support. Okay, so if the old system supports your hardware, the newest one's is going to support it as well.
All right,
Cool.
so you're big on legacy support, which makes sense,
Exactly.
being that you're going for the enterprise. Enterprise doesn't want to swap out stuff all the time.
No. And that was another thing too. People ask us, why don't we just let Red Hat or Novell take over or why should they buy our desktop versus Novell or Red Hat? And one of the things I tell people is that Novell and Red Hat, their desktop systems only support things like email, web browsing, the document creation. And you guys and I know that with desktops, especially in small businesses, there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call it. I'm going to wrap that up. Thanks for being with us, Roberto.
No problem.
The next
I
thing,
do it again.
Okay. And so we'll go, the next part of our show is called the Dev/Random, where Seth gives us something that may or may not be interesting.
Hey, I recently came across this howitshouldhaveended.com.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
have
not
a
new.
YouTube channel that you can go to, but the one that I chose just to kind of represent the site is how the Avengers should have ended bonus scene. It's like a little 2-minute video, and I thought it was kind of funny. Some of their how it ended are, I would have went another direction, but pretty much all of them are pretty funny. And if you go to their website, there's one with Optimus Prime and Megatron playing Battleship, talking about the movie Battleship, that you really have to watch. It is great. HowItShouldHaveEnded.com, and the link leads you to a specific video, the Avengers How It Should Have Ended bonus scene. Anyway, just watch them and enjoy. And again, remember, I'm trying to make you less productive so I look like an attractive hire to your current employer.
Check out the Frozen How It Should Have Ended. It's awesome. If you've seen Frozen 73,000 times like I have, it's even more powerful. But let's just say Wolverine shows up.
Oh, man. Now you make me want to see Frozen so I can watch that.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it now.
Okay, I'm going to say that's it. If you want to be on the show in the form of listener feedback, or like Roberto, you want to be a guest, or you just have something to say, the way to do that is go to elementop.com, click the Contact Us button at the top of the page. That'll send us a nicely formatted email, and we'll see it. Or if you just want to skip the middleman and send your own email, that is edl@everydaylinux.com. Or if you want to be here in your own dulcet tones, you can leave us a voicemail at 559-IM Opie, and that's our Google Voice number, and we'll play it on the air. Or if you're too lazy to dial a phone, again, go back to our elementop.com page, click the Leave Us a Voicemail widget, enter your phone number, and Google Voice will call you. If you happen to be on a Pi phone, for example, you might want to do that. We appreciate you being here with us. Thanks for the couple of guys that were in the chat room. You were not as distracting this week as you were last week. That's both good and bad. Thank you, Roberto, for being a guest. Chris Seth, as always, thanks for being the awesome host that you are. And I'm going to say that ends this episode of Everyday Linux.
Bye!
See ya.
And that's how we do a show.
All right.
All right, so live chat room. I will see you next week. I'm going to hang up on you. It's crazy that we still use that phrase. My daughter pushed a button on a piece of glass and referred to it as hanging up the phone, and it occurred to me, she has no idea what hanging up a phone means. She's never hung a phone anywhere.
No kidding.
Yeah, anyway. We don't dial the phone anymore either. Nobody dials a phone anymore, but we still use that phrase. Okay. Weird thing to end the show. Good night, everybody.